Hello and welcome to the latest episode with myself, Scott Mclachlan. Pompey completed back-to-back away wins but stumbled in Wales and at home. And as usual, we discuss everything Pompey in the Play Up podcast. I'm joined by fellow Pompey fans to discuss the last three games and various topics around Pompey's season so far. Phil returns after being hamstrung by a holiday in Cornwall for the last pod, and he is joined by Reece and Jamie. A very good evening, gents. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So good.
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Good. Yes, you're off on your holes again, Reece, aren't you?
I
so you
am
won't be around
indeed,
for the next
yes.
pod. Yeah.
I won't do, but I'll make no apologies for that. So
no. What games are you missing?
It is Derby at home and QPR away.
You're not around for Swansea, are you? Because I'm hopefully
Swansea,
taking your seat.
That's. Are you taking my seat? I doubt it because I've advertised unless you bought it on the portal.
Well, my son is mascot for that evening, so we are going to join. We're going to squeeze in on the HHGG row and watch the game from up there. So I've already squared it off with the ticket master, so don't you worry.
If he says it's okay,
Thanks,
it's okay.
Thank you. So excellent. Thank you very much, guys. We start with another trip to East London after the fine win at Charlton. Pompey took on MIllwall at the New Den. Both sides have been in good form, MIllwall having climbed to third in the table and Pompey away from the relegation places. It was an even first half with few chances for either side. The first shot on target came from the lively Caballero, who was making his first start. The ball was worked to him on the edge of the box and he fired a 20-yard shot which was palmed away. MIllwall then really should have taken the lead. An unchallenged cross on the left was thankfully headed straight at Schmidt, and that was about it for the half. Almost from the kick-off, Pompey took the lead. A hopeful ball was lofted up to Bishop, and his flick header was supposed to be for him to run onto, but he was blocked and the ball ran loose. A couple of Millwall defenders left it for each other, and the lightning-quick Caballero burst through to pick up the ball and fire a shot at the keeper. The save ran loose, and he tapped into an empty net from a very tight angle. A goal out of nothing, but welcome nonetheless. Pompey then doubled their lead when the ball was quickly worked to Ali, who drove to the byline and cut the ball back. Swift was on hand to smash it into the net from 10 yards. Millwall responded and quickly created a few attacks, one of which produced a desperate block from Ogilvy that looped up and Schmidt had to push over the bar. More pressure from the home side eventually, and they got the goal they needed to get back into the game. The ball being played down the right and a cutback was moved to Langstaff, who curled a shot into the bottom corner. Pompey relieved the pressure almost immediately. A corner was first headed goal-bound by Ebu Adams, but was smartly saved. And from the following corner, a defensive header made it way to Adams once again. His scuffed shot was cleared to Marlon Pack, and he crashed a shot through the crowd and sent the away end wild. So 2 away wins in a row, which had not happened for at least a couple of years. And Pompey could look forward to a long trip to Wales the following Tuesday with great confidence. Reece, did you go up to London for this one?
I didn't. No, it was not something that I went to. I was going to Wrexham, so yes, I didn't go to this one. But
you saved yourself.
I wish I had.
So you watched this from your sofa like I did. I must admit.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
When that Caballero goal went in, I jumped so high my head nearly went through the caravan roof.
I did exactly the same, and I think it's a lot of people have said about Caballero's pace, but I think the defender just switched off, but he saw the opportunity. But we say about Colby Bishop, I mean, he got an assist for the goal, but it was Caballero's second finish, the actual finish. I think you said tap it in. It wasn't a tap in. It was a really good, angled shot, and I say a bit out of the blue, but goals change games and all that, and it was a fantastic goal, He
looked absolutely over the moon and delighted, didn't he? I like his enthusiasm. He seems to. He's not one of these who's shy and retiring. He's very, very, very physical in celebrations with his players, and it's really good to see. Bill, it's a goal from Swift and Pack, the two elder statesmen in the team. But I'd like to sort of focus on Swift because he had a really good game at Charlton in the number 10 and again followed it up at Millwall. So was really pleased for him. We've been saying that number 10 is almost certainly his best position, and it seems to be proved.
Yeah, it's quite surprised to see him pop up in that role, seeing as Mousinho doesn't seem to like playing him in the 10 role. But yeah, he suddenly showed what he can do when he's given a bit of time on the ball, and the sort of he's operating in a part of the pitch where he can pick out a really sort of like useful pass either out wide or into the front man. But yeah, it looked really good. I've been a critic of him for most of the season, but I've sort of made sweet humble pie after that, really. Yeah, Malone had a great game as well. I mean, he's cliche of rolling back the years. He's a leader on the pitch. He sort of dictates the play. Get him off long throws, please, because they never work. But apart from that, he's having a rich vein of form.
I think they did work once in League One. I seem to remember Kamara scoring at the back post once from one of these long throws, but it certainly hasn't worked in the last two and a bit years. Yeah, I mean that's the problem. That's the problem with him being on. It's good to see him actually, competing and doing really well in that deep midfield role. But yeah, can we hide the ball from him when the throw-ins go out anywhere near the touch line? So, Jamie, a really good away win to back it up with Charlton. Could you remember when the last time we had 2 away wins? I'm sure it was in League One, but I can't remember when or where it was.
I can't remember where, but it would have been that going up season.
Yeah, probably. So, what was the best part of the game for you? I mean, obviously we'd capitalised on the pressure we'd put on at Charlton, but I wasn't expecting at Millwall. I thought Charlton was our one shot at success at an away game, and for the team to turn up and, I mean, pretty much dismantle Millwall, who were third at the time. I don't think I certainly didn't see it coming. Did you?
No, I didn't. Obviously I'm glad it happened. As for the moment, so I mean, all 3 of those goals were good, but what an introduction to Portsmouth Caballero's goal was. It was just amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as Reece pointed out, the defenders were both looking at each other and pointing at the ball, but not actually going towards it. But I mean, he ran 30 odd yards just to get onto the ball from nowhere. And his pace, yeah, amazing. And the finish as well. The tight finish was absolutely brilliant on the half volley as well. He could have taken another touch and perhaps the goalkeeper would have got back, but he hit it first time. So brilliant. So yeah, that was a great win up at the New Den. Off to North Wales next as Pompey travelled to Wrexham for the first time in decades, and on the back of 2 morale-boosting away wins and backed by an excited band of supporters. The home side had a good early chance for Thomason, who was denied well by Schmidt, but the home side then took the lead from a header from Smith from a deep cross. The forward beating a static Ogilvie in the air and finishing well into the bottom corner. Pompey was struggling to create clear chances, not playing as well or as fluid as the last 2 games. Wrexham were playing well, though, and another Smith strike was tipped over by Schmidt. The second goal came from the resulting corner, the defence again failing to deal with the ball in the air. Pompey improved in the second half and got a lifeline from a deflected Swanson shot that came from great work by Poole, who produced an outrageous flick to set the left back up. It was all Pompey for the next 20 minutes. Wrexham were content to defend very deep and dare Pompey to score, but despite a host of corners, few shots on targets were produced. Wrexham saw out the game to dent Pompey's dream of points on the road for 3 matches in a row. Reece, I'll come to you again because you actually went.
Yeah.
That second half, I mean, I can't remember. I think we had 13 corners in the second half, didn't we? But I don't remember us really testing the goalkeeper. What was your view from the away end there? Because it was in front of the Pompey fans.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Caballero had a good opportunity to score at 0-0 after about 5 minutes, and it was blocked. But after that, yeah, we never really got a look in, and as you say, just failed to deal with headers and set pieces, our Achilles heel of this season, and conceded 2 goals. But I mean, in the first half, I did think, okay, this is just a game too far for an unchanged side on the road, 3 games in 2 weeks. But in the second half, we came out and we dominated possession. Blair definitely made an impact on the right. Caballero was a little bit quieter in the first half. Blair was getting past his player, putting crosses in, but yeah, it just didn't actually really convert the possession into goal-scoring opportunities. And I think it's this isn't the first time it's happened. We seem to play very, very well and or with possession, but we don't seem to have the finish. I'm not one for modern football rubbish, but the XG stat that has suddenly started appearing in everybody's world, which is expected goals, was exactly the same for Wrexham, but they took chances. And maybe, again, to me, it was just another example where we didn't have any real options on the bench because I think Waddingham and Kirk were injured, so we didn't have anybody else to play up front. Although I think Jacob Brown can play up there, but yeah, it was frustrating because we had a lot of possession, a lot of corners, same as was it Preston and some of the other games, but just failed to convert them into a chance or a goal. So yeah, very disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, you say disappointing, Reece, but I mean, after the 2 away wins, I thought this was a bit of a free hit now, really, wasn't it? I think for them to go again for 3 games in a row was probably asking a bit too much. Jamie, do you agree with that? Do you think that after the 2, we could really let them off for having to travel all the way up to Wrexham on a Monday night and stay over in North Wales for a couple of nights and then come back and not perform as well as they did at Charlton and Millwall?
Yeah, definitely. I thought we played well as well. I'd echo Reece's statements. We just couldn't find the end product at the end of the day. And that's been our problem for a long time. I think that we definitely are looking better as a side. We look more organised, and I think there's a lot more energy in the squad than there was before. But definitely 3 games on the trot has taken its toll. Yeah.
Phil, 2 goals in the air again, wasn't it? I mean, I'm not sure really what happened with the first one. Smith seemed to get leverage over the top of Ogilvy, but it was a great finish from him. And then the second one was obviously flashed across the box, and the glancing header went in. So it's something that we really struggle with without the likes of Shaughnessy in the team, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, it's easy to. A lot of times, it's easy to sort of blame these sort of goals on defenders. Like you say, the first one, I think just took it very well. Second one, it was maybe we could have done better on that. But as you sort of alluded to, it really was sort of game too far. I think there's some tired legs in there, and I think it's difficult to on a sort of a wet pitch, a sort of muddy pitch, very difficult to sort of get a bit of leverage and get off your heels. And just disappointing. But I was more happy with the way that we didn't go under, because I think last season possibly, or maybe even earlier this season, we'd have felt sorry for ourselves, and the game would have just petered out to nothing. But we kept plugging away. It wasn't to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very good point. Reece.
I was just about to say, and I know Phil mentioned about Swift, but unfortunately, it does prove where he possibly can play, because he did lose the ball on the edge of our area. Again, I know it's happened far too many times, and it's led to, I reckon it's at least 3 or 4 goals this season we've conceded because that happens. And I think when he's at number 10, he loses the ball. You've got a whole pitch to kind of defend, whereas you do it outside your area or something like that, and you're really up against it. And unfortunately, it did lead to the first goal. So
yeah, it's a good point. I think we should ban our number 10s from going anywhere near the defensive area after what happened the following Saturday as well. Yeah, like I say, I wasn't too disappointed. I think as you rightly point out, Phil, the second half we could have really gone under, and it could have been 4 or 5 if Wrexham had decided to have a go. But bizarrely, they seem to shut up shop. They seem to go in at half time and go, right, we're 2-0 up. That's it. We'll win the game from here. We don't have to score any more goals. We'll just keep Pompey at bay. And I think us scoring quite early, really put the wind up them. And it was really down to our own lack of quality in producing clear-cut chances that didn't allow us to get back into the game. Certainly didn't lack for effort or even skill, because we were obviously creating lots and lots of chances, but couldn't get those shots on goal. Typical of our season, really, isn't it? I mean, we've said this millions of times throughout the season, that when we play well, we're a really good championship side. But as we might come on to later, we haven't got someone to stick it in the back of the net. So, Phil, you've got a quiz for us. Thank you for sorting that one out, and welcome back to being the quiz master.
I do have a quiz, and politics has sort of dominated the news the last week or so, particularly the
Really?
exciting news of a Green MP being elected in Manchester. So I thought I'd put together a little quiz which I've entitled Current MP or PFC. So I've got a list of people, and they are either Pompey players who have represented us over the years or current sitting MPs.
Brilliant. This is going to be really good.
I don't want it. I don't want any umming and ahhing. There's no. It's just I want it to be quick fire. I want you to hit me. No pondering over. Oh well, I think they might have had someone with that name playing under Redknapp in. No. We're going straight in for it. So, Scott, I'm going to let you go first, seeing as I don't think you've been first for a while. So,
Okay.
How it's going to work? A bit like if I was to say Lee Bradbury, you'd go PFC.
PFC.
And if I was to say, keeping it local, if I was to say Stephen Morgan, you'd go
MP.
Very good. Right. Okay. So let's get things rolling. So first off for you, Scott, Bradley Thomas.
PFC.
I'm afraid you're wrong. He is the current Conservative MP for Bromsgrove, elected in 2024. Reece, Jim Shannon.
MP.
Correct. He's the DUP Member of Parliament for Strangford, elected in 2010.
In Northern Ireland.
Yes. Over to you, Jamie. Bobby Dean.
PFC.
I bet you were thinking he was a little tricky winger from the 40s, weren't you? Well, he's not. He is the current Liberal Democrat MP for Carshalton and Wallington. Right, back to you, Scott. We've got Andy Barcham.
MP.
MP? I'm afraid not. He was PFC, Pompey winger from 2013 to 2015, 45 appearances and 5 goals.
Blimey.
Right, Reece, over to you. Bob Salmond.
MP.
Very wrong, I'm afraid. He was a Pompey defender, 135 caps between 1931 and 1938.
Oh, I can't believe I got that wrong because I was alive then.
You fool. Right, Jamie, Bill Esterson.
MP.
Correct. The Labour MP for Sefton Central, elected in 2010. Scott, over to you. Jack Compton.
MP. He was a cricketer, wasn't he?
No, he's a footballer. He was a Pompey winger in 2012, 2 goals in 28 appearances. Reece, over to you.
All the ones 2012, 2013 when we had about 120 players.
I'll trade you my 1931 one if you want.
So, Reece, over to you. David Mundell.
MP.
He is. He's the Conservative MP for Dumfriesshire, Clydesdale and Tweeddale, elected in 2005. Jamie, Alex Kane.
PFC.
Correct. He was goalkeeper from 1923 to 1926, made 96 appearances. Scott, back to you. Jack Rankin. He sounds like it, doesn't he? He's not. He's a Conservative MP for Windsor.
He's enjoying this one, isn't he?
Really well.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Reece, one for you now. Alberto Costa.
PFC.
No, he's a Conservative MP for South Leicestershire, elected in 2015. Jamie, over to you. Stuart O'Keefe.
MP.
No, PFC. Central midfielder, 21 appearances between 2017 and 2018. Right, over to you, Scott. We're reaching the halfway point and you haven't scored yet. So, no. Brian Murphy.
MP.
Ulster Unionist? No, not at all. He was Pompey goalkeeper between 2015 and 2016 with 21 appearances. Reece, Freddie Van Mierlo.
PFC, just for a laugh.
No, he's the Liberal Democrat MP for Henley and Thame.
Oh, God.
Jamie, Paul Downing.
Player. PFC.
Correct. He was a centre-back, 11 appearances between 2019 and 2022. Right over to you, Scott. John McColgan.
MP.
He was a fullback for Pompey between 1923 and 1930, making 190 appearances.
Statistically, this is pretty impossible. But anyway.
Reece, Josh Babarinde.
MP.
Correct. He's the Liberal Democrat MP for Eastbourne.
Of course he is.
Jamie, William Bagley.
MP.
No, inside left. 129 appearances, 12 goals, 1933 to 1941. Scott, Marcus Painter.
Oh, PFC.
Correct. Left back. That's your first goal. Left back, 17 appearances between 2013 and 2014. Over to you, Reece. Luke Pollard.
MP.
He is. He's the Labour MP for Plymouth, Sutton and Devonport, elected in 2017. Jamie, Alan Gemmell.
PFC.
No, he's the Labour MP for Central Ayrshire. Scott, Paul Gilchrist.
PFC.
I've got that one.
Correct. He was forward, played between 1977 and 1978, making 39 appearances.
Just about remember watching him. That was my first season.
You might have seen one of his 3 goals.
I might have done.
Reece, over to you. Jimmy Eason. 292 appearances for Pompey and 102 goals for this forward between 1928 and 1939.
Again, can't believe I didn't get that.
Okay, Jamie, Alex Burghardt.
MP.
Oh, very good. He's the Conservative MP for Brentwood and Ongar since 2017. Right, okay, we're over to Scott. Brian Leishman.
I'm going to go PFC.
He sounds like a Pompey player, doesn't he? He's the Labour MP for Alloa and Grangemouth. Reece, Dan Jarvis.
MP.
Very good. Yes, he's the Labour MP for Barnsley North. He's been in his seat since 2011. Jamie, Fred Forward.
MP.
No, he wasn't a forward. He was a winger. He 183 appearances for Pompey with 27 goals between 1926 and 1931.
Fred Forward.
Scott, over to you. Cameron Thomas.
I'm going to go MP.
He is the Liberal Democrat MP for Tewkesbury, elected in 2024.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, Reece, David Thackeray.
Oh, Pompey. PFC.
Very good. He's a left half. Played between 1928 and 1936. 9 goals in 280 appearances. And finally, over to Jamie, the last one, Richard Reynolds.
MP.
I'm glad you said MP because I didn't have a tiebreaker. No, he was a striker for Pompey between 1971 and 1976, scoring 24 goals in 140 games. So the final score. So with three points out of a possible 10, we've got Scott. With 5 out of a possible 10, we have Jamie. This week's winner, before he signs off on holiday, is Reece. 6 points. Well done, Reece.
Well done, mate. Well
Thank
done,
you.
mate.
I always like your quizzes, as I've said many times over the last few weeks.
I thought I was going to go 0 for 10 there, which would have been pretty impossible. But there we go. Thanks for that, Phil. That's really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. So let's go on to the last match that we are going to cover this evening. Pompey looked to get back to winning ways at home against another high-flying side when Hull came to visit last Saturday. The visitors had the ball in the back of the net early on, but McBurney's headed effort was ruled out for offside when a parried shot fell to him 6 yards out. He had moved too early, thankfully. Pompey then peppered the Hull goal, having almost total control for much of the first half, although much of the efforts on target were from long range. Swanson hit a fine effort that was tipped around the post for a corner, and Devlin also crashed a shot in from outside the box, the keeper again pushing it for a corner. His best save, though, was from Paul, who, after a bit of pinball in the box from a corner, poked the ball towards the corner, but the keeper went full stretch again to keep it out. In the second half, Pompey dominated possession and added to their shots tally for the afternoon, but really didn't look like scoring. Ali and Bishop coming close with half-chance efforts. Then Hull got what would prove to be a hugely undeserved winner. A clearly tiring Segicic came deep to receive the ball, and his short pass to Paul was picked off by a Hull forward. Segicic looked to have covered his mistake by winning the ball back, but he again fluffed his second pass, this time to Schmidt, and despite the keeper launching himself into a challenge with McBurney, the ball fell to Crooks, who put the ball into an empty net. Pompey continued to dominate possession, but with little threat, and Hull snatched the 3 points when they deserved no more than one. It's one of those games, as I'm sure Jamie will agree, that comes up on Football Manager occasionally. I mean, Hull had 2 shots on target, scored from 1. I think we had 22 and didn't score. What was the main reason for that, do you think?
I think we downloaded the wrong tactic.
Yeah.
We didn't put in the cheat code. We didn't sign the Wonder Kids. No,
yeah.
I've said it before. I've said it earlier in this chat. We struggle to know how to score goals. We need an attacking coach, attacking play coach to come in. We've got good individuality, and those are what won the away games. It was the goals. It was the super goals from the players that won the day, and we seem to get to the I don't want to name names, but we seem to want to take the ball to the byline all the time instead of crossing it early. Too many step overs, and that's why Bishop's not getting any service, because I don't know, and then we end up passing it back. It'll go all the way back, and it'll end up back with Schmidt again. And you'll be thinking, like, well, how did we had all this pressure. We were looking like we were going to score, but we just, I don't know, maybe it's fear or something. The lads just don't have the nuts to just fire that shot in. But sometimes that's what it takes. A bit of pinball in the box can score you some goals. But we seem scared to. It's almost like we'd rather not lose the ball than have a go. I think that's why.
Yeah, I mean, we have scored some shots from range. I mean, notably Devlin and Swanson have crashed a couple in. Devlin on 3 occasions, I think, so far this season.
Yeah, and that was
it's
my
working
point.
It into the box that's the issue, isn't it?
That was my point. Is we have to rely on those moments of brilliance from Caballero and the long shots. That's what I'm saying. We're not getting any tap-ins. Bishop's not getting any poacher goals. He's not getting any headers. And it seems like, I'm sure we're going to pick on him in a minute, but he's the one man there, and when he's not getting the opportunities, and that to me is the key issue. And our goals are coming from moments of brilliance from other players.
Yeah, absolutely. Phil, we'll go the goal. I mean, you obviously had a really good view from the Fratton end. I didn't had a much lower, flatter view from the north lower. I mean, I thought Segicic was tired at least 10 minutes before that happened, and I was really expecting him to be taken off. But he seemed to be utterly bewildered when he went back in and did the defending back there and gave the ball away not once but twice. It was a goal,
I did think. It was. I did think he was tiring. I said to one of the guys I sit with about 5-10 minutes before that I thought it was time for him to get the hook and have maybe Chaplin come on and replace him. But the goal was just an absolute catalogue of errors. I mean, the first thing is Adams is down injured. One of the things we always seem to be guilty of when we have the ball in defence, particularly when the ball goes back to Schmidt, we don't hit counter-attacks. We hold on to the ball. We wait. We assess the situation. We look around to see what's going to happen. Bizarrely, and I have no idea why he does it, Ogilvy suddenly takes this quick free kick. Not only does he take a quick free kick, he plays it into centre midfield where Adams should be, but instead Adams is behind him, sort of lying on the turf. So you're already putting the team under pressure. Segicic gets the ball. Segicic is under pressure at this point, and for some reason, best known to himself, he decides to try this little flick with the outside of his boot that goes nowhere, loses the ball. He gets struggles back to get really well to try and recover the error, and then completely undercooks the back pass to Schmidt. It's just a series of inexcusable actions, and much that Segicic was at fault, it was Ogilvy. He should have just. I do not understand why he didn't just put the ball down, look around, and wait. And he didn't even play it up the line. He played it straight into the area where we didn't have a player, and we had a player missing. So I don't mean to sound like I'm digging Ogilvy out, because it was a poor team goal to concede, but we should have done so much better. And as you say, it was an ill-deserved one. Even my old flatmate, who was a Hull City fan, texted me to say, "We just robbed you." And anytime we've lost to them, he's usually very quick to gloat over me, and he didn't this time. So
no, I don't.
it shows
He
even
had
he
any
thought the
right
result was
whatsoever.
unjust. No, absolutely not. No.
I was really surprised by Hull, Reece. They again another team that are in the top 6, and they come to Fratton Park, and they don't seem to have anything about them. I mean, they refused to play. They were time wasting from minute 1, and I'm going to come on to Allison, the referee, in a minute, because I was appalled by his whole game behaviour, his lack of control. I'll detail that in a minute, but they seem to want to come for a point from minute 1. The goalkeeper was warned about time wasting on the 4th minute.
Yeah, it's another game that's slowly becoming a bit of a blueprint where if we don't get a goal for something spectacular, or then we don't seem to have much else. And I just couldn't believe we lost that game. And I think Phil's assessment was absolutely bang on. It was just a catalogue of complete cock-ups in the space of 30 seconds. And for a professional footballer to have one bad touch, to then recover the situation and then have another bad touch, it's just not good enough. And I think Mousinho was absolutely right to call him out. It was unacceptable, and there's no way we'd have lost that game. We'd be a point better off. But as many teams have come here, stays at 0-0, and you don't get a goal, and you end up losing it. And I think
did we
I think
suffer from trying to chase the game? Should we, after 70 odd minutes, have gone, okay, we're getting a point here, neither team can really work each other out, and just,
No.
I mean, I think we had 22 attempts on target. They attempts on goal. They had 2. We had 6 on target. They had 2. As a home team, I think it's the onus is on you to go and win the game. You're expected to. Stats show that. We were doing everything right. On Sunday morning, I actually sat down and went, actually, that was a really good performance against a team who are third. Christ knows how they're third after that performance. And maybe that just shows how far we have come. But also, I think it highlights the thing that we all thought we knew. And it's becoming absolutely clear in probably 3 or 4 games since the transfer window where we're lacking. Because I think, they were just bang average.
I'd echo what Reece says about us having the right to go after the game, because you would think that having that many chances or that many shots at goal, we obviously think, well, something's got to go in eventually. And no, we were right. I think we were right to chase it. I think it was a shame this is the whole thing about the lack of players, the lack of depth, is that there were some very, very, very tired legs out there. You know, Marlon Pack was knackered. Ebu Adams was that's probably the tiredest I've seen him in a game. I mean, obviously it didn't help that it's Ramadan. He's just started fasting, and it was an early kickoff, and that has got to play a part. But there were a lot of players there who just looked a bit sluggish, and you know, it was just if Wrexham was a game too far, this was certainly a game too far. I thought one of the encouraging things was I thought Harvey Blair had a real go. Didn't always come off for him, and he really does need to look at the studs that he puts on, because he does slip and slide a bit. But I'll tell you what, he does not give up, and I sort of salute him for that. I thought it was quite an encouraging performance, and we're going to need him. We're going to need him in the run.
There's a in there, isn't there? And
absolutely,
the one thing that we have questioned is his physical ability. But you know, he was scrapping again. He was one that didn't really last more than 60 minutes. And obviously, I think he went off at half time, didn't he, for Caballero? So it's
no,
one
he
of
went off in
those
the
where
second half because he went off in the second half because he landed awkwardly on his shoulder.
Yeah, it was quite early though, wasn't it? I think.
It's probably
and then Caballero got injured. We thought, but it kept going off and then coming back on again, and then he was off again, and then he come back on again. I think I just posed the question, not that I believed it. I just posed the question that I think, you know, sometimes you've got to recognise that maybe that it's not going to happen for you. And I'm not saying give up. I'm just saying play with more care, because as you rightly said, Phil, we never usually play out from the back that quick, and to do it down to 10 men. And then pass it into as you say, the area of play that we were lacking players seems very bizarre. So I don't know. We could have probably should have got a point out of that game.
I'd have been disappointed if we'd come away with a point from that. If we only come away with a point from that game, I'd have been disappointed. We were that much in control of it.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. But you know, obviously with hindsight, which is always correct, isn't it? Jamie, I know you agree with me on my next point. So there was discussion amongst probably fans about Sam Allison officiating the game against Hull and his. I mean, he's a very measured referee, but he has such a lack of authority and lack of control that he just doesn't make any difference to the order of the game. I'll give you two definite examples, or three, sorry. So the goalkeeper was wasting time and the back four were wasting time from minute one. He spoke to the goalkeeper, I think, 5 or 6 times before he booked him on the 6th minute or whatever it was. I mean, how many warnings do you have to give someone and say, if you do that again, I'll book you. If you do that again, I'll book you. If you do that again, I'll book you, and then not book you. There was a period, I think, if everyone remembers, that there were about 8 or 9 fouls by Hull players in a period of a few minutes. Literally, play would restart and then there was another foul and it would stop in 30 seconds. He didn't book one player during that period, not one player. And then the third one that really, really annoyed me was when the player who was 8 yards from the north lower touchline was being substituted. He refused to walk off on the nearest side. Allison went up to him and told him, "You are coming off on this short side." He ignored him and walked off. Allison walked after him and obviously said a few things. And again, didn't even book him or make him walk off the short way. He had no control over that game at all. I mean, we've seen some poor quality refereeing, but to actually see a referee who has no authority amongst the players was really concerning. It's not the reason why we lost the game. Absolutely not. I'm not using excuses, but we saw several minutes less of the ball in play because he could not officiate the game well enough. I was really annoyed about that all weekend. His performance, even if we'd have won the game, I'd have been annoyed with him. Do you agree? You agree with me, Jamie? I think.
I do agree with you, but I'd probably come from a different angle. I hadn't noticed the lack of authority, but now you bring it up. I see what you mean. I just saw him as incompetent. And I don't mean that, like you get bad refs, you get stubborn refs. And to me, this one was just incompetence is the only fair word or kind word that I could use for it. He just looked oblivious to everything going on around him. And it wasn't just him either. The linesmen were the one in the closest to the north stand. He was awful as well. It was I don't know, it was just a shocking state of affairs. The old boys in front of me joked about the ref leaving his yellow card at home. I think he got it out towards the end, didn't he? Over something trivial as well. I just think he's a really, really poor cognitive awareness, and probably shouldn't be a referee, but is a referee, and unfortunately we got lumbered with him.
Yeah. Does anyone want to come to his defence? Anyone want to play devil's advocate?
Well, after listening to Statler and Waldorf, it doesn't really.
No, not really. It's just one of these things that really wound me up about the weekend's game. It was really poor from him, and there were several instances of his lack of authority. And like I say, the guy literally blatantly sticking 2 fingers up to him and saying, "I'm going to walk off the long side of the pitch. I don't care what you say to me," was just the icing on the cake. So we've mentioned a lack of goals. I know there's a lot of chat in Pompey land amongst the mushies about our forward line. So I think we need to talk about Colby. Does anyone want to go first? I'll just set things up. I think he looked really well off it on Saturday for whatever reason. I think probably, as you said, Phil, the whole team were tired. But it's been his lack of ability has been evident all season. I was hoping the Arsenal goal would give him a bit of surge, and he'd knock a couple in. But what's wrong with the team? If it's not Colby 100%, what's wrong with the team? And I want everyone's opinion on this. What's wrong with the team that don't allow him to even get a shot on target, let alone score any goals? Phil, you definitely want to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of these people that thinks he's lacking in ability, and I'm certainly not one of these people that goes on social media every single time we play a game and going, "Oh, can't be Bishop's rubbish." Not that person. I think the issues we've got with him sort of almost stem back to last season. I think when he came back from injury, he came into a team that had absolutely no presence up front at all. Sorensen and Omani, who were our sort of striking options, and sort of to a lesser extent Waddingham. none of whom were suited to playing Championship football. And he came back into that team. He came off the bench, as we know, on that game where we weren't expecting to see him in the team. And then he started every single match the rest of the season. He was a proper workhorse. He was the only option up front. He was getting goals. He was getting goals because of the way we were set up to play. The way we played was I wouldn't say it was cavalier, but it was quite an attacking side we played at that point. We were either hitting Murphy early, or we were getting the ball to Ogilvie and playing the ball down to Murphy. And so, as you touched on earlier, Scott, Murphy as a winger is not a get to the byline and pull the ball back. He's a bit like Beckham, a bit like Anderton. He likes to hit an early ball, curl it into the box. A lot of Colby's goals came from that. A lot of Colby's goal involvements, as they call them now, came from him being hit as a target man. And you had people like either Callum Lang or Matt Ritchie sort of buzzing around him and picking up the balls that were coming off of him. And that was great because he was doing what he's expected to do, bring other players into the game. So fast forward to this season, Mousinho said in the summer that we conceded far too many goals last season, so he wanted to change the way we played slightly. And so rather than this bringing the ball down the wings immediately, what we sort of transformed to doing was hitting the number 9, i.e. Bishop, hitting him early, expecting him to lay the ball off, him to bring other players into the game, which he does well to a certain extent, but he's had to adapt his game to do that. The other thing is, from a player playing in that role, you need to have a number 10 that's going to be very close to you. And we have not had a single player playing at number 10. And there are players who've played that role, quite a lot, like Chaplin, for example, playing close enough to him. So he's playing with his back to goal. Unless you're a nippy striker who can drop a shoulder and turn, you are not going to score goals when you're playing 90% of the match with back to goal. The wingers that we've employed either cut inside and have a shot, which is what Segacic earlier in the season, Yang were doing, or they do what Ali does, which is trick their way to the byline and pull the ball back. And so we're not playing to his strengths. I think you're right. Yes, I think Saturday probably his worst performance of the season. And unfortunately, every player's due, and every player is entitled to have an off game. But unfortunately, his off games come as a run of playing, I think, reasonably well, but not contributing with goals. I think the question you asked earlier was what do we do about him? The problem we've got is we don't have a striker that we can bring on. Actually, we don't have a striker we can bring on at all, apart from Brown at the moment, because they're all injured. But we don't have a striker who can play his role. We don't have a striker who can play with a back to goal. We don't have a target man. We don't have a player that wins balls to the chest or to the head. So what do we do? All we can do is either persevere with what we're doing at the moment, change what we're doing with the wingers and get the wingers to hit balls in early, or you have to put someone else in that role. At the moment, it would have to be Jacob Brown, but then you have to change the way in which we play, because playing the way we play, Brown's not going to work. Chaplin's not going to work in that role. So I think it's a real conundrum. I suggestions of how we can fix it, but I mean, I don't know. I really don't.
Jamie, does I think Phil touched on last season. Do you think that we haven't found a Murphy and a Lang to play alongside him to basically occupy the rest of the defence while he can actually get some space to finish things off?
Yeah, absolutely. We all know we all had season tickets in the year where he was banging them in left, right, and centre. We know that man can score goals when he's in a goal-scoring opportunity. It's not as if he's missing a plethora of chances every week. It's not like, oh, Colby, I can't believe you've messed that up. We're just not getting to see anything at all of him. And I don't know if it's the size of the defenders maybe this year that he's up against. He seems like we're trying to treat him as a target man, but he's not tall enough really to be a traditional, big man, little man target striker. And that's not his game anyway. You give that man the ball and give him a path to goal, and he'll have a running goal. Maybe I've thought about this myself. Thought about it Saturday. Maybe every team that we're playing is just constantly crowding him out because they know he's a threat. But he does seem to get trampled on a lot. And again, like the referees every week in, week out, I see Colby just get thrown all over the place, and nothing seems to get done. And I've even gone into the bowels of conspiracy on my thoughts here.
That's not like you, Jamie. Out of character.
Maybe it's starting to get to him as well. I mean, I read a stat the other day. Is it 33 games without a goal in open play? Somebody said. I thought that can't be right. But I mean, that's got to be getting to him. We all have our careers, and if you're failing in your job repeatedly, day after, week in, week out, that crap will take its toll on your confidence and everything about you. And maybe he's thinking that he isn't cut out for the championship. He's lost out in himself now, and he's thinking to himself, well, maybe I should just, it's got to. I think one of you said earlier on about what he'd been playing better earlier in the season. Maybe it's just taken its toll so much now that he's thinking, I'd much rather drop down a league, bang them in, and live back up north near my family again. There's almost that aspect to it.
But if you're being asked to play, I think you made some really good points there, Jamie. You're being asked to play a role where it's not the role you're used to, because even Mousinho said he's had to adapt to this new role. But as a person who's judged by goals, to have to spend your entire game pretty much playing with your back to goal, that must be so frustrating. Must be quite demoralising for him. And you can see why. You can see why he's, sort of cuts a sort of slightly forlorn figure these days.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they're all my good points, and I think I do remember since last season he was getting some pelters, and I think he made some comments in the media, and then he started to prove everybody wrong. But yeah, I love Colby Bishop. I think he does another one of those roles that is not instantly recognised as actually being part of the team, and for all the reasons Phil said, I just don't think we're set up to kind of play to his strengths. So, but the amount of times he's been fouled and doesn't get the decision, if I had £1 for every time, I'd be a millionaire. But it feels like that. It really does. So, I really like him. I think he's. I love him at Pompey. We just don't have any alternatives.
I think so. I remember when Tom was on with us in January, he said something interesting about Colby tying himself up with defenders, and I think that's interesting. You mentioned about the mental side of things, Jamie, because for me, he seems to be more physically involved with defenders earlier on in the phase than he used to be. I don't remember him doing that last season. I think he was more freer to not have to get tied up. But I think when the ball is played up to him, I think he's trying to wrestle the defender far too early. I'm not an expert, obviously, but that's just my view for what's been happening more recently, and that could be something that he is stuck with, because he's trying to do what you say, Phil, and that's hold the ball up in this different formation. Does he start Saturday? Does he need a rest? Do we just keep hammering on with him for the next 11, 12 games and see what happens?
Who's fit? Apart from Brown,
who else is fit? You mean? Yeah.
I mean, I thought Wadding was close to coming back to training, but it's gone very quiet. And same with Kirk. So, yeah, I think Kirk has played, but he hasn't exactly set the world alight. We haven't really seen much of Waddingham. So, but I thought Brown did okay against Preston away. But it's a team dynamics, isn't it? You don't want to demoralise him or anything like that. And but yeah, I don't know. Would it 60 minutes of Brown roughing him up, and if that's possible, and then
I think he's more likely to get him. I think he's more likely
exactly
behind. I think we discussed this after our football on Monday, didn't we, Phil, about possible alternatives and having three fast forwards.
Yeah, you have to change the foot if we're going to bring Brown in, which I'm not adverse to, and he's got experience at this level. If you're going to bring him in, as we were saying, Scott, you've got to set up differently, and you've got to play different. You've got to play differently, different tactically. Because if we just do a like for like swap, because I know Mousinho loves his 4-2-3-1, but if it's a like for like swap, there's absolutely no point. There's no point sticking Brown up there and pumping high balls up to him or putting the ball to his chest. As you say, you want to have mobile players getting behind the fullbacks, giving the centre backs a different kind of trouble. Beating them with pace, not with muscle. And I wouldn't be averse to seeing Blair, Ali, and Brown playing as a forward three. And then maybe changing it around. Or if we're going to persevere with Colby, maybe change it at half time if it's not working. I mean, Blackburn's potentially an opportunity for him to get his mojo back, maybe. But if we're going to just keep playing him with his back to goal, it's going to be rinse, repeat, isn't it?
Yeah,
he feels more like a midfielder. And I've said this before actually about him playing in like the attacking midfielder role. Maybe that would take the heat off him. But he's closer to the halfway line all the time than I don't know if that's just instruction. It just seems he's not making himself available. And when he is making himself available, he's like you said, Scott. He's trying to have a fight with the defender, and he always loses. The referee always blows against him. I haven't seen him win one this season.
No. Well, I mean, we were all more than likely to come to his defence because of his, he's got a huge amount of credit in the bank for what he's done over the last 3 or 4 seasons, and that's not going to change. This is a bit of a test for Mousinho for Saturday's game, certainly, because it's one we can't really afford to lose, even if we don't win it like we did at Hull. So one thing that did pop up today, obviously, was the new playoff format. So that's the extension of the Championship playoff places down to position 8, with 5, 6, 7, and 8 all playing a one-legged playoff, and then being put into a 2-legged semi-final against a 3rd and 4th. It's just all about money, isn't it? It's just all about extra games and trying to get some more teams in. It can't be about getting more quality up into the Premier League, because if you take last season, teams in 7 and 8 finished in 66 points, which was 34 behind in the top 2, and Burnley aren't exactly pulling up trees in the Premier League.
No, they're just trying to up the excitement level, aren't they, and give more teams the opportunity. And regardless, I mean, the EFL have got to look after the EFL, and I think I'm really not bothered about it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I think it is what it is. It gets a bit exciting. The playoffs are always an exciting game. We are clearly biased that the playoffs are the worst thing in history because we've never won a game in them. But I'm really not bothered about it. It is what it is. So
what it is likely to do is it's going to encourage teams to start throwing money at it, because if you get to January and you've got a sniff of 8th rather than a sniff of snip, if you've got a sniff of finishing 8th and that might get you promoted, there are people that are going to think, well, we're going to put some money in here because we could be in the playoffs, or we could chance our way into the promised land.
But you still got financial fair play.
Don't include us in that, by the way.
No, that doesn't sound like Eisner at all, does it?
No. We still got financial fair play which is going to kick in next season. So that I think will have some kind of impact. So, but yeah, I'm not too bothered about the decision, to be honest.
Personally, I'm all for it, because if it's a couple of extra chances to roll the dice at the end of the season, especially for a team like us. So I'm for it from that perspective. I also think it's going to end up with in the future we're going to get some bizarre teams in the Premiership, because at the end of the day any team can win a game, win a little tournament, and I'm hoping we're going to see some diversity going up into the Prem. And the only worry would be that they break the bank and borrow too much and it goes to their heads. We'll see. Time will tell.
My biggest concern is if they introduce playoffs for relegation and they start sucking the teams in.
No.
I don't know, around 18th or 19th into some kind of relegation playoff, because no one wants that, right?
That would really hack me off. That would.
Yeah.
Footballs on the pitch from 90 minutes and the fourth added Malta.
So we got 3 games coming up. One away at Blackburn on Saturday, as we mentioned, and 2 home games. against Swansea on Tuesday, and then Derby the following Monday. Opportunity to get some points, obviously. Jamie, do you want to go first for your predictions?
Sorry, who are we playing again? I missed that.
Blackburn Saturday. Tuesday, we got home to Swansea and home to Derby the following Monday of an evening.
Draw for Blackburn at the weekend and a win against Derby.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're just not going to play Swansea.
No, we're going to boycotting Swansea. Yeah. We'll lose against Swansea.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my son's mascot, so hopefully not, but we'll see.
We'll beat Blackburn because they are rubbish. There you go. Let's put the curse on it.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably get a couple of draws out the other two.
So 5 points for
Yeah.
you. What about you, Reece?
I'm going to slightly off. I think we've been playing really, really well. We're playing so much better than we were last season, and actually earlier in this part of the season. And I think those performances continue. I think we'll win 2 and lose against. No. I think we'll draw Blackburn, and I think we might win against the other 2.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for 7 points. I think if we do get 7 points, if I have a quick look at the table, so we could be on 46 points, which would put us in touch with mid-table and possibly drag us well above Charlton. I think it's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I want.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. Again, the bottom 4 have only won 1 game in the last 24 amongst them. And that was the same again a few weeks ago. Obviously, we've only won 2 in 6 ourselves, so we need to start picking up some points again. But West Brom, Leicester, Oxford and Sheffield Wednesday between them look pretty rubbish. Blackburn have actually turned it round now. They've had O'Neill come in for a few weeks. So, yeah, they've
lost their last 2, though.
Yeah, they have lost their last 2. I think they're suffering from an injury things, same as we are, and they're not very good at home because their pitch is bad. It could be quite a bumpy game on Saturday, but I'm looking for 7 points.
Who do we think is going to go down then? Who do we think is going to go down? Obviously Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, Oxford have got too much to do. I think. For me, I think it should be between West Brom and Leicester for the 3rd. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think Oxford and Sheffield Wednesday down, but there's always somebody who gets dragged into it, and I think I can't believe West Brom and Leicester. They got too many good players. A couple could turn it around. Possibly Charlton and maybe QPR. There's always a team that gets dragged into it. So, but I just hope it's one of those 3. But West Brom and Leicester, I think, just got a bit too much about them. It's a very big confidence thing. You see what happened to Norwich, and suddenly they're out of it. So I think the same could happen with West Brom and Leicester.
I think West Brom and Leicester are both going to go. I think Oxford are going to pull themselves out of it.
Ooh, controversial.
West Brom don't look like they could buy a win from anywhere. They look absolutely woeful. And Leicester, I think Leicester look pretty poor. There's still the possibility that they might get another points deduction because I know the Premier League are sort of pushing for that. So no, I think it could be those 2. I just can't see where they're going to get any wins.
So we could stay up by default because all the other teams keep getting points deductions.
As Homer Simpson once said,
Eisner will be very happy about. Perhaps that's what he was looking for, the football regulator to come in and keep taking points off all the other teams just so we stay up and he doesn't have to spend any money.
As Homer Simpson once said, the 2 greatest words in the English language: default.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. We might end up playing Spurs next season if we stay up because they're 3-1 down to Crystal Palace.
Are they?
Yeah.
Which is
And they've had a man sent off as well, so
So
could have been watching that.
Stone.
Could have been watching that rather than doing this rubbish.
Tune into the second half. Let's wrap this up. Thanks very much, guys. And Pod will be out on Friday afternoon. Thank you very much. Hopefully see you and Jamie, Phil, in a couple of weeks. Reece, have a very good holiday. Send lots of pictures, and we'll see you when you get back. Right. Cheers, guys.
Catch you later.
See you later.